The dark-haired stranger stepped into the saloon, and every whore's head turned, including mine. Strangers were nothing new in Seattle, not since the stampede had begun a year or so ago, but anyone walking through that door was a potential John. After several slow nights in a row, none of us wasted time sizing up new arrivals. As I searched him for tells, something to hint if he was here for a drink, a game of cards, or a companion for the night, I had to admit I was intrigued. Gladys had said that if you'd seen one stampeder, you'd seen them all, but once in a while someone stood out from the crowd. Like this one. From behind the bar where I was wiping down glasses, I watched him. He looked tired and cold, just like everyone else, but he carried himself like he was already on his way back from the Yukon with a pocket full of gold, even as he brushed the rainwater off the sleeves of his heavy overcoat and held his hat outside the door to shake it out. He had a dignified air that didn't often find its way into Ernest's saloon and brothel. Apparently, satisfied his coat and hat were dry enough, he came all the way in, carrying a large pack on his shoulders and a locked wooden box in his hand. He strolled toward the bar. I couldn't decide if he didn't have a care in the world or if he was damned certain the rest of the world would be wise to get out of his way. On his way across the warm, if stuffy, saloon, he didn't even seem to notice Frances's and Anna's coquettish smiles. Aside from a day's worth of shadow on his jaw, he was clean-shaven, and his dark hair was only slightly tousled from his hat, which he set on the bar. He shrugged off his pack, then his coat, revealing a finely embroidered waistcoat that had clearly been tailored to fit his narrow waist. Well dressed. Not rich, but certainly not destitute. Still too early to say if he'd come here for a whore, but from the looks of him, he could afford one, and he was showing no interest in the girls. So I casually inched closer to where he was sitting. Ernest leaned on the bar.
"What'll it be?"
The stranger peeled off his leather gloves and laid them beside his hat. "Your best cognac, please." Oh, dear Lord, he had a voice like the cognac he wanted. Ernest laughed.
"What city do you think you're in, son?"
He gestured at the rows of uniform bottles on the wall.
"Whiskey or brandy are the best you're going to find here."
The newcomer scowled, then made a dismissive yet so elegant gesture. "Whiskey will do fine. A double, please." Ernest beckoned to me.
"Robert, get over here and pour the man a drink."
"Yes, sir." I joined him, and the newcomer met my eyes, but only for a second. Clearing his throat, he shifted his attention to Ernest while I poured his drink. "Do you know where a man might look if he wants to round up a team to head north?"
"Heading north?"
Ernest sniffed.
"You and every man in this town. Ain't you heard the ground up there's running out of gold? The last 2 months, every stampeder who's come back through here's been empty-handed."
My stomach sank at the reminder of the dwindling gold fields. Some said the gold would all be picked clean by spring, and those who left now to struggle over that hellish pass into the Yukon would be weeping into frozen, barren soil for their trouble. With winter just around the bend, those of us still itching to make the journey were losing hope by the day. "I've heard the rumors." The stranger offered a tight-lipped smile. "But I'm not concerned about that." Ernest eyed him, then shrugged.
"Well, you'll find the men you're looking for hanging around the docks down by the outfitters. But watch your pockets. There's as many thieves down there as men who could help you."
"But there are men looking to go north."
"Aye, dozens of 'em will join any party led by a man who'll pay them."
Ernest turned to me.
"How about that drink?"
I slid the double whiskey across the bar. The stranger briefly met my eyes again, and his taut expression warmed to something a little friendlier. He turned back to Ernest. "I'm also in need of a room,